ACC Championship game in Charlotte, the Clemson Tigers and SMU. SMU, first year in the ACC, one loss and undefeated in ACC conference play. They have a chance to win the ACC in their first year. A hell of a season for them. Rhett Lashley has done an incredible job. It's been really impressive what they've been able to do. Clemson, they were just coming off of a loss to South Carolina, and they had thought all of their hopes and dreams were dead. And then Miami blows it against Syracuse, allowing Clemson to play for the ACC Championship and a bid for the college football playoff. Now, I think both of these teams are actually fairly evenly matched. SMU is a very, very slight favorite, -2.5 in Charlotte. Now, SMU has been able to do some really impressive things offensively this year. Kevin Jennings is electric. He can really break a game open. But on top of that, their defense is also really solid, and I think that doesn't get talked about enough. Their defensive line is really, really good. They can break games open and wreck games as well. We saw what they just did against Virginia a couple of weeks ago, where they absolutely obliterated that Virginia O-line, and they had 9 sacks against Anthony Colandrea, who has pretty good escapability back in the pocket. So their defense is really good as well. Now, Clemson, where do we stand on them? They've had a few big games this season, and they have really dropped the ball in all of their big games. Their 3 losses have been their 3 toughest games this season. And so they've looked very, very good against inferior competition, but have really dropped the ball against teams that are either better or of equal play to them. Will they show up, or will they play to the level of how they have been playing against these big teams? Cade has been pretty great in the past few games. He had that huge run that got them the win. That was like a 50-yard run. That was really big for them. And he threw a bad interception at the very end of the game against South Carolina that cost them the game. So we'll see how he ends up playing. But I thought the offensive line for Clemson in the game versus South Carolina played really, really well. And that was a part of the Clemson game that I did not think that was going to go well for them. I thought that South Carolina defensive line was going to eat up the Clemson offensive line. And they didn't. They held their own. So I don't think SMU's defensive line is nearly as good as South Carolina's. So if the Clemson O-line can play like they did in the South Carolina game, I think that'll be a good recipe for success for Clemson. If they're able to throw the ball and if they're able to get the ball moving on the ground, that will be a key part for Clemson to win the game. But a big element in that is going to be the health of Phil Maffa. He did not look 100% last game and hasn't really looked 100% the past few games. Are they going to use him as a workhorse like they have been? Because you can tell when he was carrying the rock last game, he was not at his full 100%. He was not at full health. So I'll be interested to how they use him and how SMU can kind of bottle that up and force Cade to pass, because we have seen good spots in Cade passing, and we've also seen Cade be very, very frantic in the pocket and make some really, really poor mistakes. So the line on this game is SMU -2.5. I am not going to bet this game. I think it's going to probably be SMU -2.5. That's where I would lean, and that would mean SMU would be a certain in as the ACC champion and likely the number 3 seed, which would be great. They get a first round bye, but I can see Clemson pulling off this upset as well and causing a lot of chaos in the college football playoff bracket. It'll be a fun game to watch. Follow Big Body Ball CFB on all socials.